Yes, Nigel, as we were speaking about your son and the dramas that your son has faced, and I remember like you sent me a message, you like, Spence, thanks for sticking up for my boy. And I was like, bro, I'm just keeping this thing 100. I'm no Conor from when he came over here. I remember they had the dinner over here. Ben Delway did a dinner for you, and they had a dinner, and I sat down speaking to Conor. And from then, I've always liked the kid, a humble kid. So I'm just going off of what I'm saying. And he phones me regular. So I said, either your son is an incredible liar, right? An incredible liar, or I'm amazingly gullible. So, and that's the only reason why I was speaking the way I was speaking. So, you know, it is what it is. But do you think like a lot of that was the wrath of how you handled the British border control?
Well, you know what it is, like I said, Spence, it's like, I'm not letting people take me over, because at the end of the day, they said they didn't recognise the WBO belt and all that. And I thought, oh, okay, you don't recognise it, then screw you and rip the licence up. Don't worry about you. You don't pay my rent. You know, and I thought to myself, you ain't treating me like that. And I'm just sick and tired of being used by, back in them days, I found all them kind of people in the board at them time, mate. Yeah, they had Mickey Duff, they had all the other others there. They had, I don't know, they had all them.
The cartel.
They had their own cartel, you know what I mean? And I think at the end there, that was like this black guy, who do you think he is? Nah, forget that, mate. You ain't treating me like no sugar honey iced tea. I'm telling you, mate, I'll stand my ground. And that goes back to what happened to my brother. I'm not letting nobody treat me like that. I'm not. I'm going to hold on to that. And it's all I just want to respect. I respected people. If you ain't going to respect me, I don't care. My biggest night in my life in boxing, and you're going to say you don't recognize it? Well, screw you. Take that.
Well, it's amazing now, like how the British Border Control recognize the WBO now.
100%.
Right.
100%.
But I want everybody to realize that it was Nigel Gregory Benn that brought that title to these shores.
That's right. That's right. And look how many people followed from fighting that. Chris,
exactly.
Joe Kawasaki, everybody.
Right. Exactly. You know what I mean? Johnny Nelson.
Steve Collins, everybody. Right. Everybody.
So like with your son now, right?
Yeah.
In the beginning, he was kind of basing his style on you, and his style of boxing now has evolved, right?
Oh my God.
Because he's thinking.
Yeah, I actually feel like, when I look at Conor, I think to myself, there's another level. See, I couldn't box like how he can box. He's another level. And he's learning. Tony's training him, but he's learning his trade. I see them there practicing day in, day out, practice one shot for the whole week. They just practice everything. And that's what I like, everything. So it's not just like, me, crash bang, go on, like 4, 3, 2, blah, blah. It wasn't like that. Now, I never had that. I never had no training. My training just used to my advantage. Just go in there and fight, Nigel. That was it. Conor's different. Conor's got a boxing brain. And now he's watching. He's got a nice tight defense that he's been working on. That was the only downfall, that didn't have a tight defense. Now he's got a tight defense, and now as he starts stepping up in a level, he's going to have that tight defense, and that's what he's been practicing now.
How stressful was it? All of this, the situation that your son was in. How stressful was it on you and your family?
I tell you what it was, Spence. I came back and I was doing the documentary with Frank Bruno, Eubanks, and all that. And I actually ended up, what happening, because of I'm on medication, I ended up, without even thinking, I was drinking half a bottle of red wine a night for 5 months.
Wow.
And then I started getting depressed. I come home and my wife said, and then I was driving, she said, no, don't park like that. I said, no, don't talk to me like that. Please don't talk to me like that. Don't talk to me like that. it's like I couldn't handle anything. It was just like, and it's only because my meds wasn't working because I was drinking wine. Not that I'm on strong medication, but just kind of mellows me out. And because I was drinking right, so that nullified it completely.
Mm.
And I don't even drink. That's the thing. I don't drink. I don't drink. I'm not drunk. I was never a drinker anyway. My drinks are like Dubonnet, lemonade, and turmeric. I'm not a drinker. I don't like vodka, brandy, whiskey, water. I can't drink them drinks. Drink one of them, I'm on the floor. I was never a drinker, but I just ended up drinking red wine. Would you believe red wine with Coke? That was it. That was it. And I've done it for like 5 months, and I come home and I had to go and see my doctor, and he told me like you can't drink enough on your medication. So I had to kind of wean myself back off, clean myself all out again. But it really stressed me out because then what happened here? I've done a show. What was it? I've done a show with Fearon and all that, and I was up north, all over the place doing my shows.
Yeah,
and
Ghost of Promotions. Yeah, yeah. Spencer Brown.
Yeah. So yeah, I done like, what was it? I think I done about 2,000 miles in like 4 days. I done like I was all over the place, from up to like Scotland, Glasgow, then to Blackpool, then to Somerset, all around these kind of areas. And I was driving up and down. And then after that, I finished. That was on a Monday. Then I had to go and work with Frank Bruno. So I've gone straight from doing all them shows, already messed up. And I've been training as well. But yeah, it's like I could have had a heart attack and died. And no one would have known because I was so stressed and my head was racing. And it was like, I just didn't know where I was. It was just like I was trying to work to just block out all this negativity. Watching
So it was that serious, and it was that serious that what was happening to your son, like you were
affected my wife,
on medication, and then you went to drink because of the stress.
Yeah, and I don't even drink. That's the thing. That's the thing. I don't drink. I don't drink. I don't drink. We don't have no drink in the house. We don't have drink in the house. We don't have no alcohol whatsoever in the house. I was never a drinker, but I ended up drinking red wine, and that was it, mate. And then for like, for 5, 6 months, it was just, I was all over the place. And it was like, I remember I was in my daughter's apartment, like she lives up in this high building. Mate, I said, I feel like just jumping out the window. And she looked at it. I just got back. And I said, that's what I said to her. She said, Dad, what are you saying? I said, I'm sorry, darling. I just burst out crying. I didn't know. I was just, mate, I was in a really, really low place watching my son from someone that could end up being a mega multi-millionaire. Then all of a sudden, he's scratching around and struggling with his own mental health issues. So, and I tried to be strong for him, but I wasn't strong for him. Yeah, it's really hard. The whole family, we're all struggling. And then I look at the board, for that Robert Smith, mate. I mean, yeah, there's so much things I know about him, mate. But anyway, we won't even go there. We won't even go there. But you know what, mate? Because you know what it is. It's like I think they're just out for Conor because of me. He ain't done nothing wrong. But you know what it is, mate? They'll get their comeuppance. They will get their comeuppance. I guarantee you, they'll get their comeuppance.
So how do you
even all them people like them, like Jordan and Talksport and all the rest of them, that little smarmy little Spencer, whatever you know, I can't remember, Oliver Spencer. All these little smarmy little, I love the backhanding, but and I get nicked. But the difference is, it's not one of them on Talksport. They say, you know what? Let's get somebody to fight for Conor. No, they had all the negative people. They had the boxing board. They had all the people. So they're all like stirring. That's what they're all about. Just all stirring. Instead of like, look, let's wait, because you know what it is. Look what happened to Amir Khan. They didn't do nothing, did they? They waited a year and said, "Oh, look, we found a year." But then with Conor, you find that in 2 seconds. And yet Conor spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands to clear his name. He didn't go and say, like, I'm not wasting that money, mate. $500,000 or whatever that he spent on it. He's clearing his name. My son is not a drug tree. I know my son. He's got the same DNA as me. And if I look at like his testosterone's natural, he ain't gonna cheat. It's not who he is. He's not feeling like, like he's gonna look his little son in there and feel like, I cheated for you, son. That's not my boy. Yeah, and I know my son, and I stood with him, and I will stand with him all the way through until we get victory. Until we get victory. The boxing book can throw what they want, but you know what? They're not going to hold Conor down. They're not going to hold the innocent man down. But all them Jordans, the Olivers, all these kind of people that sit around in little smarmy little shits, I'm sorry to say, mate. They all sit down, they all stirring, all this, all. That's all. Not one of us said, like, let's get somebody here from Conor's side, to speak. But you know what? All they want to do is stab him in the back. And a lot of them will tell one of the Christian, like, all right, then. Oh, don't even want to go there because
it's gonna. That's just part of life. It's going to be now. It's going to change now, but simply because we hopefully. Well, it seems like he's off now, so he'll be able to fight again. So the same. So how it goes is the same ones. You know how it goes.
See the difference is he can't fight in America. He's been cleared by the VADA. They've all cleared him, so it's not at the end of the day. It's only just like me. I say, Conor, go and fight abroad. Go to Dubai. Don't have to worry about you fighting in England no more. You've already been cleared, son. Go and do what you've got to do. Stuff them about giving them a percentage of your hard-earned money, or if they try to stab you in the back. You know what? May God's hand be heavy upon these guys. May God's hand be heavy upon them till they come to a true place of repentance, that they have a change of mind, a change of attitude, and a change of direction. Because they ain't doing no good at all, mate. Because there's so many things that happen in boxing and with a boxing board. How can it take a year to find out Amir Khan when he fought Kell Brook? A whole year? Really? Really? A whole year? And then yet in 2 seconds, you're on Conor like a rash. You're on Conor like a rash. I ain't got to say no more. People know. People know.
You know what, Nige? Like, I don't want it on a negative. I want to put it up on a positive. And I can understand how you're feeling. Yeah, I mean, I understand how you're feeling because we were speaking regularly right throughout, right? So right. So I can understand how you're feeling. It was like I interviewed Conor and Conor threw a question to me. He goes, what? He goes like, I'm innocent, Spence. I'm innocent. So he was interviewing, so I'm innocent. And he goes, what do you think like Tony would treat or would know? Do you think Tony would lie for me? Do you think Eddie Hearn would lie for me? Right? So he threw that question at me. So me being smug, I said, I'm going to be real with you. Yeah, I do think they'd lie for you. I do think Eddie Hearn would lie for you. I do think Conor. I'm not saying it in a way that they would actually lie for you. I'm saying like when you've got someone's back, you got someone's back. So if you're someone's my guy, I'm going to go out there. I am going to get out my way for him. Right, so maybe it got misconstrued or misinterpreted, like he's thinking like I was calling those guys a liar or that they'll lie for him. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying like if you got someone's back, you got someone's back. The difference is here with you, Nigel, is like you were accused of being a drug street, and I remember when I was down when I first started promoting, and you helped me out a lot then. So I have to thank you so much for that. When I just started out, when I just retired from boxing, I started promoting. And you'd come out your way. You and your dad, Mr. Dixon, God rest his soul in paradise. You'd come down the gym. You'd spar the white collar guys. This is Nigel Benn, You'd come down. You do all those kind of things. So when you've got that kind of link up with someone, you don't want to speak nothing bad of them. But then also, right's right and wrong's wrong. Now, I've stood again. I don't think your son's a cheat. I've stood by it, and I'm not saying I'm talking to you because you sent me the video.
I know, and I'm a son. Right. I wouldn't come and sit here with you, Spence. If I thought my son was a drug treat or whatever, I wouldn't even be talking. I said, no, he's got to deal with it his way. That would be it. I said, he'd deal with it. But I just know my son. I watched my son broke down in my arms, crying, holding me. Guy, drug treat, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. And because I was away with him training. We was training for the best shape. I don't know what this sport is on. I don't know if, because when you saw the picture of Eubanks and he's kind of line short, he looked so drained and all that. And I understand when Chris Eubanks was saying, like, they had to kill my son. He trained himself down to like, I think he got to 1 57 or 59 or something. He's meant to be 157. He looked ill. I'm glad the fight happened. Because at the end of the day, I'm glad it never happened. Wait, I said they're going to fight him at 160. Matter of fact, fight him at 165. Who cares? You still annihilate him. I know he will. Conor's more stronger at middleweight than he is at welterweight. Because like he walks around at 12 stone.
Yeah, I know he walks around.
I mean, I like him to fight Kell Brook, Eubanks, and I like him to fight Smith. All of them. All of them. I don't sweat. I do not sweat them. I know my son's capability. I've seen him in the gym when he was having some tough spar with Felix Cash. I mean, we're talking about wars. And yet standing there, mate, when he was at welterweight and he was like middleweight, and Conor just having wars with him, wars. And then like hitting hard, you know? So, but I know my boy. There's certain guys that I know that he can fight at middleweight, but I didn't start welterweight. I would like him, me personally, I like him to fight at, win a title at welterweight, win a title at light middle, and try and win a title at middle.
Because I know you know firsthand the reverberations of what can happen in the sport, or the damage that can happen. You go back to your fight, February of '95. That was you and Gerald McLennan. Right, you were close, even though you and Michael Watson fought each other, but you two were very close. You know what I mean? Because I remember it was, what was it? Yeah, it was when you were in the studio, you, Nick Owen, Ambrose Mendy, Barry Hearn, and Chris Eubank Senior. And you said, I really do hate him. I do. I hate him. It's like, that's a bit, yeah, I know. That's quite, right?
That's like a young man that, you know,
right.
I didn't like him, but I didn't want to use that word, I hate, because, you know.
Yeah, I know. But of that time there, but you've seen how serious this sport can be. You've seen, like, a man nearly died at your hands. So,
but you know what it is? You got to understand, he went from light middle to middle, and then straight up to super middleweight. So it's like me, if no one on God's green earth that I'm going moving up fighting light heavies, them guys that, you know, they bang me into tomorrow. I know my limits. I know my limits. But I would, like, you know, he's gone straight up the waist, and he's got in there. As much as he's a puncher, he's a bully, and so now he's come up there and fight another guy who can just punch just as hard as him, and who's determined just like him. And I wasn't going to let him beat me that night, by hook or by crook.
Well, in that fight, when you got hit, you went down in the first round, right?
Yeah.
And he punched you through the ropes. That was serious, right?
Yeah.
And you get back up, and you carry on fighting. I remember the late great, and he's a great Denny Mancini, because I remember Denny Mancini.
Oh my gosh!
Right,
he's the one that turned the fight for me.
I know, because he said, "Come on, Nigel."
Look at the state he's in. Look at the state he's in. I'm like that. Really? I just kind of. I thought, really? And I said, ring the bell. Watch the second round. I'm chasing him around. I'm chasing him around. After something happened in my subconscious that I didn't even know that existed. I didn't even feel any of his shots. Even when he put me down in round 8 with a half punch, half slip, went down. I remember giving uppercut.
It was kind of like back of the head, that shot. It was a back of the head shot.
Yeah, but I didn't feel that. I just got up and I just carried on. I thought to myself, no, you know what? I just knew that I was going to beat him. I just knew. I wasn't going to let him say hello to my friend.
Hey.
How you doing, champ?
I'm good, you?
Yeah, I know you're very good. You're very good at football. Your dad always talks about you.
Yeah, I am. Cheers.
Bye. That's Levi.
Yeah, I know.
So
you pulled that out of the bag.
Yeah, but you know what it was? Spencer, so much, man. You know what it is? See, I'm still messed up. So you got to understand, I'm still messed up from my brother.
Yep.
All right. But you to understand, so get the picture now. Look, see, because I was always into my raves. After the fight, all I wanted to do was go down to Ministry of Sound. Yes, liar. That was it, mate. I just wanted to yes. Because you know what it was just like I was a party animal, mate. I was introduced to things like, certain drugs. I was introduced, so it's like, and I've been bashed up, but I didn't care because I just want to go out and party. But when I come out with a damaged nose, damaged jaw, urinating blood for 3 days in the shadow on my brain. But I just want to go out. Me and my wife, we went through kind of murders because like I was sleeping and she'd kind of keep pushing me. I said, I'm all right. Because, a lot of people, when they just pass out, they get brain hemorrhage or whatever. And so she kept me up for like, all night, really just kind of making sure that I just didn't. But yeah, mate. So you got one side of my life, and then you got another side of my life.
Yeah. So what would you say was the highlight of your career as a fighter?
Do you know what, Spence? All I wanted was a terrace house like my dad. My dad had a Cortina Mark II. All I needed was a BMW. I just wanted a terrace house like my dad. I didn't want much. I thought my dad had made it. And it so for me to be two-time world champion in the Guinness Book of Records, inducted to the Hall of Fame, voted the best super middleweight in history with the WBC, along with Joe Kawasaki, and my face permanently on the belt. Mate, my whole career, I'm not just going to pick out one fight. I had even the fights that I lost with you both, the fights that I lost with Watson. Mate, I just had a full career. I can't believe it. I retired at 32, Spence. 32. What? I'm living in a lovely house in Australia. I've been like, mate.
Nigel, you're being humble. It's more than humble. I've seen the palace that you're living in, my friend. It's a beautiful home.
Yeah.
And you got your family.
I'm living the dream, and you know what it is? It's like, but you see what it is? You can have. See, it's not really about that materialistic life anymore, Spence. It's not about that, because at the end of the day, I give all honor and praise to God for keeping my marriage, been with Caroline 32 years, who stood by me through thick and thin, a man that's cheated on her for 16 years and confessed all these things to her. And yet she stayed with me, not because that I've got the money. She owns everything. Everything that I have is because of my wife and because of God. That's it. That is it's not about you achieved this, but when I said I've achieved this, but there's still everything that's linked that bad with me, the affairs, the drug use, the addictions, the sex addiction, the drug addiction, the ecstasy addiction. Because I never had cocaine. Just want you to understand it. Never in my life have I ever took spliff and ecstasy. They were my weakness. I was hooked on them. So, and that brought me to a kind of place where, like, because I never dealt with what happened to my brother, took me all through them dark places for many years. I had one in little pills. Boy, mate, I was gone. It took me away from that dark place. And so there's a lot of things that I went through. It's only when I came to faith that, mate, my life changed, and I'm happy. I'm contented. I don't even go out much. I like living in my house. My wife works at church all the time, and so now I do after dinner speaking, which I've been doing since '97. But after next year, I come back mostly April to June, and then October to November. But now I'm only going to do once a year because I really want to help these. God's given me a heart for these broken men that are struggling with drug addiction, struggling with sex addiction, struggling with alcohol and all that. And a lot of these things that I've been through, but now I can help these men. Christian men. We're not talking about like worldly men. Worldly men don't understand who Jesus is, but fallen brothers, they're the ones that I want to help. I want to put them back on the right track. And I know God's given me the talent to do that. And that's what I want to do. That means more to me, being able to help a man from not divorcing his wife, for not leaving his kids, to be able to keep a family together means more to me than any world title has. And you know what? One thing is, in my whole life, I always wished in my life that I was faithful to my wife. That means more to me than ever winning a world title. To know that, you know what? She's the only woman I ever been with. I was faithful to her. That would be it. Because you know what it is, it'd be nice to be able to say to your kids, you know what? No, I've only been with your mum. That's it, mate. One person instead of hundreds and girls and doing all this, you know. So there's a lot of things that are pain that I've got to live with. But you know what? It's like the scripture says, when the sun sets you free, you're free indeed. And I feel free. I feel blessed. I feel honored and privileged that I've come out the other end. There's so many people that are stuck in the middle and they don't know how to get out. They don't know. And they're struggling. They're in depression. There's a lot of boxers that do that. A lot of boxers, they've gone out, they finish boxing, they walk next to it, and half of them want to put half a pound of gear up their nose. Do this and do that. And, you know, them kind of drugs like, cocaine costs lots of money. You get hooked on that, not me. I get a little fella, I get them free. I never pay for nothing. I never pay for that. Not saying I'm a cheapskate, but that's what life was like. That's what life was like, Spence. It was, I'd actually have to say, going through that rave scene was actually one of the best part of my life. Even though the saddest part of my life, it was something where I learned a lot about myself. Because me going through that, it brought me to faith, helped me to deal with all the issues that I had in my life. Mate, now I can look at it and think, wow, my gosh, I'm 60 in January, and yet I feel like I'm 30. I train every day. I think that's me and my wife, we train together now. It's taken me years to get my wife to train with me, but I train twice a day, every day. So that is my medicine, the fitness, and plus me and my wife, we follow naturalists about things to eat. I eat dandelions, like in my garden. I just pick them up and eat them. Good for you. Drink dandelion tea. Just whole life is changed. Whole life is changed, mate. I'm at peace, Spence. I'm at peace. That's the most important thing. I'm at peace. Regardless about the materialistic things, I'm at peace with myself.
Nigel Benn, it truly has been an absolute pleasure speaking to the former Dark Destroyer, and now you're the Light Protector.
That's it, mate. Yeah, that sounds good to me, mate. That sounds good to me.
Nigel Benn, I wish you all the best. I can't wait to see when Conor's back out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
He'll be out soon.
Trust me, because the lots of stuff that you said is going to be a great inspiration to other males out there who are fighting certain addictions. You know what? And I'm looking forward for you to start your ministry of work that you're going to do. I'm looking forward to it.
That's all it is, mate. That is what God's called me to do. Nothing else really matters. Nothing else really matters. It's because a lot of times I've been working in the world too much. You know what it is? I want to really do what Jesus called me to do, mate. Let's help these broken men. That's my goal. Then I can say, you know what? I'm doing what I'm called to do.
Amen. Nigel
Love you,
Benn,
my friend.
thank you very much. Take care. God bless, sir.
God bless you.